guys, welcome back to another episode of the Girlfriends and GodSip podcast. I am your host, Shantae Harris. As always, this is a safe space. Our intention is to only uplift and never to tear down. With that being said, we've gotten that out of the way. Welcome to my new viewers. Hello again to the faithful followers. Welcome back. This week, we are going to be talking about public opinions, parenting over the summer. Lastly, choosing to live in your truth. Starting off, summer. Summer is upon us, you guys. My kids have officially been out of school at least a month and a half right about now, and I think I'm finally getting into the groove of this summer break, what the work schedule looks like, all of that, what the grocery bill is looking like, the important stuff with these kids being out of school. Before I even get into that this week, what I've seen a lot of and what I have tried to curate my social media to is less opinionated posts, because I believe everybody's entitled to have their own beliefs. I'm not trying to persuade people one way or the other. I think like social media has become a platform where it just seems like everybody has an opinion on how other people should be living their life. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I don't like drama. I don't like gossip. That's why we have GodSip, because I want it to be uplifting, motivational conversation, not talking about the who's who of this or what everybody has going on. That's just so high school to me. But, to each his own. I'm just telling you what the space over here has to look like. And, that's something I demand. I don't want to spend my time talking about this person and that person and what they have going on in their life. Because honestly, my life is fulfilled enough with my own things to not have to focus on somebody else's. That's no tea, that's no shade, that's just the God's honest truth. It just made me wonder, you see people's posts and the comments that people leave under the post sometimes. It's just like, why do people feel entitled to judge strangers they don't even know? I feel like social media has made people critics. It's just like critics for what? Even with the cooking recipes that people put on there, they get on there. First of all, kudos to them for having the confidence to step out and do something like that. You'll see people commenting just because they don't necessarily cook their meal the same way. In my mind, I'm thinking the whole time, it's like, they said this is what I do or how I prepare my meal. And I'm not saying I haven't had to personally deal with any of that. If I did, it's just kind of like at this stage in the game, people are doing what they deem to work for them and their family and their household. I just don't think we should be so quick to try to judge that. Not only that, if you're the person on the receiving end of that, it's just kind of comforting to know public opinion changes weekly. One day is this, if somebody said, but the wind will blow in this direction, all of a sudden, like what that person did is trending. You can't get caught up in any of that. The main thing that I think when it comes to just being respectful of people in these online communities is use your critical thinking before you react to a lot of this stuff. If you think through it, a lot of times, just like me, when I hear certain things, I don't necessarily judge the person giving that information. I like to see things from their perspective or see things from their viewpoint. A lot of times you find people are dealing with a lot. So the way they show up tends to be a direct reflection of that sometimes. And not only that, some people are really just out here trying their best. Give them that grace, give them that same stage of the ability to just be themselves without like that personal judgment aspect. That's my little 2 cents about what's going on in the media this week. But all of that being said, it made me wonder, have we become a society that's more interested in being quote unquote right or just being kind. I'm on the latter end of that these days. I just want to extend grace and kindness to everybody because truth be told, everybody deserves it. No matter what it is you think they've done right or wrong, everybody deserves some kindness. Everybody deserves grace. We all need grace. We all need to be kind because so much is going on. And let that be just one less thing people have to worry about. Now, parent. Parenting in today's world and society, I think that's what had me so focused on the whole social media thing too. I think about the audience that I entertain and my kids, a part of my daily audience that I'm constantly pouring into, feeding into, being an example for. And so when I think about social media as a whole, it's what do I want my kids to get out of this experience that we call life? Raising them in this social media age is not necessarily easy to navigate because personally, I feel like they're exposed to so much so soon, too early, a lot of times. But I also grew up in a household where my mom talked to us about a lot of things. So I was always of the opinion as I got older, talk to your kids about everything that you feel like they could come in contact with, or the news that they're being fed, because a lot of times they're being fed it in a negative light, and you want them to know the correct way to perceive things. Not only that, just teaching them to have confidence in who they are without feeling like they have to look a certain way or govern themselves a certain way just because of what they see other people on social media doing. I think for me that's like one of the biggest things. Like, don't water down who you are just to fit a societal norm these days. Build your own personality. Be comfortable with who you are. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. I know I say it all the time that I believe that we were all created uniquely in God's eye. With it comes certain skills and talents that you might possess that other people don't have. It's okay to be different per se. And I'm not saying different in a negative way. We're not meant to be the same. Like just teaching my girls it's okay with being confident in who you are, especially when it comes to beauty these days. Like, I have been adamant all summer about reinforcing my kids' natural beauty without the added hair and braids and all of that. Now, my oldest daughter, she's a little older. She's comfortable with her own personality or her own identity at this stage. She's about to be 16, but the younger ones are the two in the middle. No, I want you to take a break from the summer with the super long braids that are, like my kids say, down to the booty braids. We don't need that this summer. Like, embrace your natural everything, your natural curls, your natural personality, your natural style, all of that. Embrace it. So that's part of me being intentional too with them, being intentional about what I expose them to, what I'm allowing them to be exposed to outside of my own home. Like I said, you do have to do your due diligence these days as a parent to speak up on certain things. I encourage my kids to talk to me about conversations they may hear or conversations that may be had with them that they don't necessarily understand. Just letting them know that this is a safe space to communicate, that any questions, no matter how big or how small they are, they can always come to me with them. I read a story the other day about this lady who's now in her 40s. She was having a conversation with her mom. She had snuck out when she was a teenager to a boy's house and told her mom she was at the library. Mom knew the whole time that she was lying about being in the library. She didn't really say anything because she just said, okay, I'll be home by curfew. She actually made it home by curfew. The mom knew that she wasn't at the library because she heard loud music in the background. Of course, you're not at a library with loud music in the background. She didn't say anything about it. Long story short, the daughter ended up asking her mom all these years later, if you knew I wasn't at the library, I was out with this person, which she didn't know where she was. She just knew she wasn't at the library. If you knew I wasn't at the library, why didn't you fuss at me or yell at me? Mom's response was, because I wanted you to know that, number one, I want you to keep calling me when you're out. Number two, I especially want you to keep calling to let me know that if you ever get in a jam or a pickle, I'm a safe space. So the mom was playing the long game with the daughters, which is absolutely what I'm trying to do these days. I don't necessarily fuss about some of the things that I feel like I was reprimanded about as a kid. I'm not saying that that was wrong. It shaped me into who I am today. I thank God for that. What I am saying is these days, these kids have more access to leaving the house. Uber is a thing, getting stuff brought into your home with just the click of a button, having access to that. Even financially, like that digital currency that they have access to these days, it's a lot different than it was back in our day. Bank cards were about the gist of what we had. Outside of that, cash. And all of that, all of those things only go so far. You can see transactions in real time. Nobody's checking their account real time like that. Uh, Cash only goes so far. I will say I give a lot of grace and understanding to what they're dealing with or what they have privy to access wise to the outside world. Say that I'm not going to nitpick every little wrong choice they make or wrong decision that they make, because we do have to still understand they're being shaped into who they are becoming. They're not there yet. They're being shaped into those beings. When it comes to that, I think the priority for me is just protecting their peace, number one, feeling like I'm an ally that they can trust in chaotic situations, number two. Finally, letting them know I'm their parent. I'm not them. So it's about allowing them to learn what works for them without necessarily seeking other people's approval. I'm real big on that these days, which to me helps me be intentional. It's teaching them natural beauty. It's teaching them financial literacy and responsibility. It's teaching them critical thinking and how to make difficult choices. The last thing, it's teaching them responsibility instead of just entitlement. That's my 2 cents on the parenting now. Summer break. Lord Jesus. Summer break, y'all. The grocery bill has doubled. The house never stays clean. Like, they have spurts and moments where it'll stay clean. Overall, it's just finding my peace in them being off for summer break. I laughed this morning because I think I'm about 2 weeks shy of saying, I'm ready for them kids to go back to school. Just saying those teachers aren't paid enough. People saying they feel like they make too much money. I think this is proof that teachers deserve every penny they are paid plus some. But all jokes aside, I am actually enjoying summer break with my kids. Most days I have to go out. Some days I get to work from home. So just doing little things with them throughout the day, making memories. I think that's the biggest thing about summer break for me and my children. Just enjoying life. Everything doesn't have to be like a field itinerary. I'm learning that with my kids. But little moments, like I'm going to talk to kids here at the Y in a couple weeks about science stuff and just doing some science experiments with them and bringing my kids along to help out and help the younger ones with the experiments, just give them their hands-on experience too. Navigating summer break with kids, I will say it is not for the faint of heart. Life to me is still what you make it. If you make it memorable, not with big grand gestures, intentionally spending time with them, then you get through it like every other season of life. So now the biggest thing that I have been really, really big on all year, even last year, is just living in my truth. I touched on it a little bit last week with just accepting life as it is, dealing with people as they are without extra expectations. It's mostly been an internal journey of growth for me. I say that because I basically had to start over in my 30s, post divorce, learning to let go of what was and just really embracing what is. I think the biggest thing is just learning that freedom isn't when everyone agrees with your choices, it's when their agreement is no longer required. I can honestly say I've gotten to that stage of life. I know, like I said last week, shifting into your 40s, what becomes priority, what matters, what no longer matters, all of that plays a major role in that. Overall, for me, it's just like the decisions that I make for myself and my girls. I'm okay with it without seeking the opinion of the public court or even their other parent. It's just, I'll say this. If this season isn't teaching you anything else, let it teach you this, that you don't owe the world a version of you that makes everyone else comfortable except you. What I'm meaning by that is your responsibility at this stage. I hope, I'm there and I hope you all get there, is to just be the person that God created you to be. Knowing that that's not just enough, it's actually more than enough. If you truly tap into your purpose and your alignment with who God intended you to be, when I tell you life becomes simple and peaceful and just amazing, in my opinion. I know it sounds strange, but it's like colors are brighter and the wind blows even more breezier. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for seeing the poetry of life and what it is. Um, that's big to me. That's really, really big to me. I think the biggest thing is just accepting, even if your journey looks different than what society expected it to look like, that's okay. It's all right. Like I said, I think we're all in different places, different spaces, yet we all have a common shared goal. At least I hope like this community of people has that common shared goal, and it is that life is meant to be lived and enjoyed, and there is no right or wrong path to that level of enjoyment. The level that I'm talking about now. I'm not talking about all the other crazy nonsense people get into. I'm just talking about that level of peace. And it's different from just saying all my bills are paid because you're financially straight. I'm peaceful because I don't have anything to worry about. My health is in check. This is a whole nother level of peace that I'm speaking of. Even if the bills weren't paid, I still got peace. Even if I couldn't travel or enjoy life doing certain things, I still have joy. That's what life has become for me. Getting 8, 9 hours of sleep at night, uninterrupted. Peace. That type of peace. With all that being said, I will leave you with this question to just ponder on during the week. What have you been putting off because you're waiting for someone else's approval instead of trusting God and yourself? In the comments, I want you to tell me what's one area of your life that you are choosing authenticity over approval. As always, I hope this, I hope that this episode has enriched your life in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that you truly ponder on those things and get to a point where the just seeing the bigger picture becomes the main focus, quieting all the other noise that life can bring. The goal for me these days, I say it all the time, is truly less chaos and more chemistry. Thank you all for watching again this week. Be blessed and have yourself a wonderful weekend. I will see you all back next week.